he got to go on being happy and successful and blissful while I struggled with what I was even doing here.
Now at 5, a former mayor and bishop, now a convicted child sex abuser. What victims are saying in the prison sentence handed down. Plus,
we've opened up 250 acres that the public didn't previously have access to.
Rerouting the Provo River, the change is coming and what it means for wildlife and outdoor enthusiasts. And the Murdaugh murder trial, a once powerful attorney accused of killing his wife and son. The final arguments from court before it was turned over to the jury.
Live from Utah's first TV station, ABC4 News celebrates 75 years.
Good evening, I'm Glenn Mills.
And I'm Emily Flores. We thank you for joining us here at this hour. Our top story this evening, a former West Bountiful mayor and bishop with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints sentenced today for child sex abuse charges that date back decades.
ABC4 Northern Utah correspondent Cade Garner live outside of the courthouse in Farmington tonight. Cade, what was the feeling in that sentencing hearing today?
Glenn, Emily, it was both somber and heartbreaking as victims of Carl Johnson were brave enough to come forward and read prepared statements outlining their trauma in front of their abuser and the judge. Now, Carl Matthew Johnson is nearly 80 years old and was accused of abusing at least 6 children over the course of several years. Authorities say this case dates back as far as the 80s and involved children as young as 2 years old. Now, today, some of his victims, who are now adult women, were able to confront Johnson, telling him exactly how he hurt them. Johnson responded saying he's both sorry and regrets his actions.
To the court and to the victims, especially to the victims, I am so sorry and deeply regretful for my serious, heinous, and egregious acts.
After listening to Johnson, the judge told him he was only sorry he got caught, which was only a few months ago, when victims finally went to the police about what they experienced.
What this circumstance indicates to the court, however, is that Mr. Johnson was able to move on or attempt to move on with his life, portraying himself as a pillar of the community while his victims suffered in the shadows.
Now, Johnson chose not to go to trial, and today that judge sentencing him to 9 years to life for each of his 3 first-degree felonies and 1 to 15 years for his second-degree felony. These will run continuously, which means the earliest Johnson could get out is in 28 years. Reporting live from Farmington, Cade Garner, ABC4 News.
All right, thank you, Cade. Well, now to the greatest snow on Earth.
The International Space Station flying over Utah early this morning. Take a look at this. Utah absolutely covered in snow as storms continue adding to the snowpack, soaring above where we were this time last year. The space station also taking this video over Utah Lake in February of 2022, even where you can see snow, the terrain of the mountains still peeking through. Certainly not the case this year. What
Thankfully so, yes.
Yeah.
What a difference and a needed difference. Forecaster Bob Bedore joining us now for a look at the forecast. Bob?
Yeah, big time needed difference is what we had. In fact, we're doing really well. This has been a good season for us. We've enjoyed it so much. In fact, taking a quick look at our snowpack. This is not exactly what the space station was looking at as they looked down, but if numbers had been on their map, they would have seen that. Look at the snowpack looking well in the dark blue. We like to see it because that's above 130. The whole state, 160% of what we're looking at right now. And every little drop right now is just gravy added onto it. We like that. 37 degrees outside the studio right now. A little bit of a wind coming through. Still some cloudy skies. Those are going to be clearing away a little bit more as we start in. And then we've got another storm that's making its way. And in fact, looking at the storm tracker radar, this is another thing the space station wouldn't have seen, which is no storms. Nothing going on today. Just kind of a very beautiful little day when it comes to what we've got. It's the calm we definitely needed. And I'll tell you more about what's going to be coming up right after we get a quick little look at the temperatures that we've got. We've got 19 in Garden City all the way down to 42, but I've got my full forecast. Tell you what you can expect on Friday and the weekend coming up in just a little bit. Back to you.
All right, we'd like to hear Friday and the weekend. Okay, well, after decades of planning and years of work, the Provo River was diverted to form a new delta.
Yeah, the new delta is part of an ongoing effort to save one species of fish. That species, the June sucker. According to officials, diverting the river to prevent flooding accidentally destroyed the fish's spawning grounds. But today's diversion will create new wetlands and areas for the fish to breed and grow. For DWR officials working to save the June sucker for years, this really means a lot.
It's been a long time. It's been pretty much most of my career that I've been involved with this in some way or another, and just to see it happen is just a highlight for sure.
Assistant Secretary for Water and Science at the Department of Interior, Tanya Trujillo, flying from Washington, D.C. today. She talked with ABC4 News about the importance of this project. We will have much more on what she had to say tonight at 10.
And turning now to the Great Salt Lake, Utah lawmakers unanimously vote to create a commissioner that will oversee major decisions and represent the best interests for the shrinking lake. House Bill 491 is off to the governor's desk. If he signs, state senators will decide who to appoint, and then the governor will consult the Senate president and House Speaker before officially doing so. The commissioner will serve a term of 6 years and can serve multiple but the governor can also remove them at any point. An amended version than the original bill passed cutting back funding for the Great Salt Lake by $30 million for a final total of $12.5 million.
Two bills meant to reduce the impact of social media on kids and teens' mental health clearing the legislature. The first, House Bill 311, bans social media companies from using any designs or features that could make a teenager or child under the age of 18 addicted to the platform. It also allows anyone, parent or not, to sue for damages over harm these companies cause a child or teen. The second, Senate Bill 152, requiring social media apps verify the age of a user and only allow someone under the age of 18 to open an account with expressed permission from their parents. Both now go into effect, if signed by the governor, the last day of this year.
And in national news, federal government's workers have less than 30 days to delete TikTok from their work phones. This after Congress passed a federal ban on the app. This was last year. But many Republican lawmakers concerned over TikTok's ties to China say this is just one step. Our DC's Raquel Martin has the story.
The federal government is putting its entire workforce on notice and demanding they delete TikTok from their work devices before the end of the month.
Including federal contractors, that's a lot of people, millions of devices around the country.
Missouri Republican Senator Josh Hawley helped push the federal ban through Congress last year.
It's a great first step, but the truth is it's a huge danger for our kids. It is a backdoor for communist China.
He's now calling for a ban on TikTok nationwide. Earlier this week, one former U.S. security advisor warned lawmakers without a broader ban, the Chinese government will have the outsized ability to influence the American public.
To censor and suppress or to amplify what tens of millions of Americans see.
TikTok denies it's sharing Americans' data with Beijing. But lawmakers certainly are not taking their word for it. Wednesday night, Republicans on the House Foreign Affairs Committee voted unanimously to advance a national TikTok ban. The committee's Democrats all voted against it. Congressman Gregory Meeks called the process rushed and says he'd prefer to wait until a federal investigation finishes. President Biden ordered that review of TikTok's data practices back in 2021.
The process is happening now.
Wednesday, the White House said the administration remains concerned, but so far is stopping short of calling for a national ban. In Washington, Raquel Martin.
Thank you, Raquel. We do have breaking news at this hour. This in the Alex Murdaugh double murder trial. Now, the jury announcing they are ready to return a verdict after only 3 hours of deliberation. So no word just yet on when exactly that verdict will announce, but ABC is planning a special report as soon as that comes.
This Women's History Month, Utah state leaders are making sure that no lawmaker or state employee has to panic on their period.
Yes, Governor Spencer Cox and Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson announcing period products will now be available in every state building across Utah. Tampons and pads will be free and in every all-gender and women's bathroom. This so state employees do not have to jump through hurdles in the case they get their cycle early or unexpectedly.
I'm so happy that we're here, we're able to talk about this issue, that we're able to normalize this issue because this is a very normal issue.
Lieutenant Henderson saying she has personally had to miss votes while in the Senate to find a period product, and this announcement lifts that concern for women in the legislature. Advocates saying the action removes one more barrier for women.
And still ahead, we've got your forecast for Friday and this upcoming weekend. But take a moment, look at this beautiful photo that Gerard sent in. Got the Red Rocks and the Pine Valley Mountains with the snow. It is beautiful, but let's see what we've got coming up. It's all going to be right after this break.